We are going to start on first understanding what market structure is. You understand? So market structure is the same thing as price movement or trend, price trend. You understand? So and price trend can be defined as the overall direction of a price movement, which can either be upward sometimes and sometimes downward, you understand, and even sideways, you understand. So we are going to cover everything. So we have three types of trends. We have uptrend, we have downtrend, and we have consolidation or ranging markets, you understand. So as you can see on the screen now, so this is an example of uptrend, you understand. So what are the characteristics of uptrend? As you can see on the chart on the screen, you can see this line is a representation of the price movement, you understand. So just listen to me and follow me. So you can see this is how price moves, you understand. It doesn't move in straight line, it doesn't move in a straight line, it moves zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. So the way it's moving, it has meaning, you understand. So like like you can see now, this place is called low, then we have high. Like I said, this is an example of uptrend. So what are the characteristics of uptrend? These are the characteristics. You can see we have high, we have higher low, and higher high, you understand. Why is this one higher low? Why is this one higher high? You understand. This one is high, this one is high, you understand, and this one is low, but it is higher low. Why? Because it is the low is higher than this low, that's why it's higher low, you understand. This one is high, but this one is higher than this previous high, that's why it is higher high, you understand. So we have higher high and another higher low. This low is higher than this previous low, that's why it is called higher low, and another higher high. This high is higher than this previous high, that's why it is higher high, you understand. Then we have higher low, higher high, another higher low, and another higher high. So this is example of uptrend, you understand. Let me recap. We have low here, we have high, low and high. We have higher low, higher high. This high is higher than this previous high, and this low is higher than this previous low, that's why it is higher low, and that's why this one is higher high, you understand. So we have higher low, higher high, higher low, and higher high. So this is example of uptrend. So let's move to the example of downtrend. So guys, so here is example of downtrend market. Remember, we are still on market structure, you understand. So like I said earlier, I said we have three types of market structure. We have uptrend, we've talked about uptrend example, you understand, and we have downtrend market and ranging market or consolidation market. Also here's the example of downtrend market. So these are the characteristics of downtrend market. You can see we have low here and we have lower high instead of higher high or higher low, because it is low, it is moving down, you understand. You understand what downtrend means, the word down, so it's going down. So we have low here and we have lower high. This this is low, the overall trend is low, is moving down. So all of everything we are going to use the word lows for them, you understand. So this high is sorry, this is low, this is lower high, and we have another lower low. Why is this one lower low? Because it is lower than this previous low, you understand. Then we have another lower high. Why is it lower high? It is higher than this low, right, but it is lower to this previous low, that is why it's called lower high, you understand. Then we have another lower low and another lower high, you understand, because this high is lower than this previous high, but it is higher than this low, that's why it is called lower high and lower low. This low, it is lower than this previous low. We have another lower high and another lower low, you understand. So this is example of downtrending market. So let's move to next example, which is consolidation market or ranging market. Keep your fingers crossed. Yeah, guy. So This is the third example of market structure, which is consolidation market structure or ranging market. You understand? So, what are the characteristics of ranging markets? As you can see on the screen right now, you can see all these lows, they are equal, and all these highs, they are equal. It is not giving a certain direction. Assuming it's downtrend now, it will be trending downward. You understand? It will be trending downward, but this one is not giving any direction. Had it been is uptrend too, it will be trending upward. It will be giving direction to the upward, but this one is not giving direction to anywhere. So the characteristics of the ranging market is very simple. You can see we have low and we have high. We have equal low. This low is equal to this previous low, equal low and equal high. This high is equal to this previous high. So equal high and equal low, equal high, equal low, equal high and equal low, and another equal high. You understand? They are equal. They are not higher than each other. You understand? So this is an example of ranging market. So I think you understand what I said now from the previous example that which I explained. So let's move to real charts and check live example of these market structures before we move to next lesson. You understand? Yeah, guys, so here is the example on the chart. Like, the previous example was, just line representation of the price movement. You understand? Because when it comes to live charts, it might look somehow dirty, or somehow there's some kind of stuff that is difficult to understand. You understand? So let me break it down for you. So you can see here, this is the example of uptrend. You understand? So how do we identify that we are in uptrend, or the price direction is trending upward? You understand? So you can see here we have low and we have high. Starting from this point, we have low and we have high. Then we have higher low, because this low is higher than this previous low. Then we have higher high. You understand? This high is higher than this previous high. You understand? So then we have another higher low and another higher high. This high is higher than this previous high. Then we have another higher low and another higher high. You understand? Another higher low and another higher high. Higher low, higher high, and so on. You understand? So this is example of uptrend. Let me show you the example of downtrend. Alright, guys, so here is the example of downtrend market on the real chart. So starting from this point, you can see we have low and we have high. Then we have lower low. This low is lower than this previous low. You understand? We have lower low and we have lower high. It is high, but it is lower than this previous high. That is why it is lower high. You understand? And we have another lower low. We have lower low here and lower high. Another lower low and lower high. You understand? Lower low. This low is lower than this previous high. Then we have high. You understand? We have lower high here. Then we have another lower low. The whole move here is one move. You understand? So this is how to identify market direction on the market, on the charts. You understand? So I think, okay, let's move to example of consolidation market or ranging market. All right, so here is the example of ranging market or consolidation market. You understand? Like I said before, I hope you understand the characteristics of ranging markets, which are equal highs and equal low. So let's check it on the real chart. So as you can see on the chart, you can see here we have high, we have low, we have higher high, right? Because this high is higher than this previous high. Then we have higher low and another higher high, indicating that it's looking like uptrend, right? Then we are having lower low instead of higher low. You understand? Then you can see we have another high you can see it is not, you can't define, it. So this is ranging market. You can see this high is equal to this previous high. It is equal highs and equal, you understand? So this is example of ranging markets. Its price is not giving any direction in the market. So this kind of price action, as a trader, you should avoid this kind of price action. But before we get to that side, this is the whole part of market structure, you understand? So if you have any question, just send it to my DM.